even mean to, but she is.
Yeah, she's just, she's a dog, she's reactive.
Little.
She sees something and,
She's been pretty good though. It's just like within the last 30 minutes, I wanted to kill her. All right, believe.
was it like her pulling you to the car and stuff?
Yeah, it's just the pull. And after a while, if I I know you told me that if I pull her, it just reinforces the pull.
Yeah.
But sometimes she actually really does relax a little bit and walk with me.
Mhm.
But we've had some renovation issues.
Oh, sure.
So we've been diverted by that. Can I zap you?
Anything else with Tyche here that so you said, practicing without Ron,
Yes.
okay? So what that would look like is you're holding onto the end of the long leash, through the handle. I showed you the whole thing.
Yeah. I tried that thing. The long leash. I tried that thing that you did with locking your finger. I thought she was going to break my finger.
Really?
Yeah, I also think that I have a little, maybe double jointed, and that doesn't help my cause.
Okay.
I don't know.
So let's take a look at what's going on here, okay? So one would be you wrap it around your thumb,
Yes,
right, like this.
right.
And you're talking about this one.
Well, that one was painful, yeah.
Okay, so this didn't work.
The wrapping it around my thumb, I did after the other one, and I think I was just kind of like, oh,
Sure.
get it undone.
Sure. So if the one around your finger was uncomfortable, then I try around your thumb.
Okay.
I will tell you that if you just hold the leash like this,
Oh, that's bad.
that's
I know
gonna be even worse,
Right.
okay?
I agree with you, so I'm on board, it's just that I'm
You
not.
gotta figure out which one's gonna work best.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can do around the thumb, right? So this would be the leash, or if you took it on the bottom, it would be this.
Okay.
Okay, so it's the same thing, except they're not I use it around my forefinger because I usually hold the leash like this. It's a really easy transition for me.
Yeah, the forefinger was horrible, like it pulled and then, so maybe the thumb will be better, stay more stable.
Yeah. So if one works better for you than the other, by all means, go for it. I don't want you to get road burn is the primary concern in case she decides to be tighty and
Yeah.
be a little bratty. Other than that, anything else?
No, I mean, everything is going fine, and the brattiness goes away when we do this. It's just that I don't do it all the time. And
Do
I,
what?
like, have the collar on her, like, at home and everything.
Oh, okay, sure, like correcting ears in the home.
Yeah.
Gotcha. What are you trying to correct in the home?
Well, just like the jumping, or if she wants something, or the bark, like she does this barking thing now. So if we're in the kitchen and Ron is making dinner, we have like a baby crate, a baby gate, sorry, crate. And she gets pissed. She will stand there and be like, bark, bark. And she knows
Sure.
it annoys the shit out of him. And eventually he'll like do something like throw her a celery or throw her some anise because it will divert her for 20. I go, you just reinforced the fact.
That is correct.
And he's like, I can't take, and he can't. He cannot tolerate the barking.
Sure.
And it's loud now.
Sure. Whose idea was the dog?
Not mine. I just took a year to agree to it. And I like the dog the best, I think. I have the most tolerance for the dog.
Sure. So inside the home, what you can use is what's called a bonker.
Okay.
Okay. It's just a rolled up towel.
Oh yeah, we talked about that. Okay.
Did we? Okay. Did I send
So
you the
I
videos?
No.
No. Okay. So that's
So
what
I
I
just hit her on the head with it?
So you can do one of two things. You can throw it.
Okay.
It's meant for physical contact.
Okay.
And yes, you can whack her on the head with it. Okay. It's a rolled up towel. So it's firm but soft. And
Paper towel or towel?
Towel.
Because she likes to destroy fabric.
Gotcha.
And paper.
Yes. So this happens a lot with puppies.
Okay.
Right, so what I tell the owners to do is I'll tell them like make up to 3 to 5 bonkers, and you go to correct, and the puppy goes whack. Oh, new toy, and they go to pick it up, right? Then I go another one, and I make it not fun, okay? But you have to keep them coming. Where the dog goes, holy crap, this is annoying, and stops. and then they don't perceive it as fun anymore. They perceive it as this is something.
So I make like 5 of them and I just keep whacking her on the back of that,
If she
let's
were,
say on the back.
correct.
'Cause I-
If she, I know it's not like it sounds bad, right? And
I mean, can I hit her in the head? Because listen, Ron will like to hit her in the head. And I'm the one who's like, stop.
Yeah, so I'll send you the videos,
Okay.
and you will see, there's 3 videos. How to make one, how to use one, and one with the trainer actively using one.
Okay.
And you will see exactly how forceful they are,
Okay.
So it's a puppy that comes into his personal space and he goes, fuck, right? It's very firm, because you're trying to dissuade a behavior. And in the end, in the dog training world, everybody's got their own opinion, and the one big thing is like positive reinforcement, right?
It doesn't work for this.
It doesn't work to stop things. It's great for things you want to see, but it doesn't work to stop things. That's what reverses are for. So if Tyche did something to another dog and they didn't like it, they would bite her. They wouldn't give her a treat or something for like not bothering them.
Right.
They're just like, don't bother me, here's a dog bite, right?
Yeah.
So obviously you can't bite your dog, so we have to replicate physicality in some degree.
Yeah.
E-collar is simple because you just press a button,
Right.
but she's not always going to be on the e-collar, right?
Do you use the e-collar ever at home, in the house?
You can.
Mm.
The only thing is, and this is why I like suggesting the bonker, is because I don't want you to become reliant on the e-collar inside the home,
Yeah.
because it's stopping stuff. Don't bark, don't jump, don't be annoying, don't do this,
Right,
don't do that, right?
and I don't want to take away her spirit.
Well, don't worry about that,
Okay.
okay? Because your house are rules, right? None of the stuff that we do here is gonna break a dog's spirit. I
Okay.
hear that stuff all the time,
All right.
okay? Tyche will be Tyche, but she's gonna be a more well-behaved Tyche.
Well, that's all I care about.
Okay, now, there is a potential where you'll see a mopey Tyche, because now you're disciplining for things, right? And it's not that you broke her spirit, but nobody likes discipline. So when I got spanked as a kid growing up, I didn't walk away going, hey,
Yeah.
right? Like I was
Right.
like, oh, that sucks, like I don't like that. So then I learned, okay, I'm just not gonna do that again, because then I can avoid the spanking altogether.
So she tends to so there's this weird thing she does within the last couple months, where she, let's say she wants something, she doesn't get it. So we have a dog bed by the kitchen, and she will go on the dog bed and she will chew or suck on the dog bed.
Okay.
Either one. Sometimes it's just sucking and she's like, and then other times it's like literally wanting to destroy it. And she does it also sometimes in her crate. There's a mat,
Mhm.
and because I feel bad, we live in a cold environment and I just don't feel like the dog is warm. So I have this stupid mat, okay? Whatever.
Sure.
But she will drag that mat out and she will beat the shit out of it and put holes in it.
Okay.
Can I bonk the hell out of her for that?
Yes.
Okay,
You can bonk anything you don't want.
okay,
Anything, okay? As long as you're consistent. What I don't like is like, let's say the owner bonks the dog for jumping on him, right?
Uh-huh.
But then the next day lets the dog jump on him.
yeah,
I know you can't do that. It's gonna be one or the other, because that's
Okay.
confusing, right? Like
Yeah.
for us, for driving, red is stop, green is go, yellow is slow down.
okay.
If that changed every other day, there'd be accidents all over the place, because like, what's yellow today, right?
Yeah.
So, as long as
Mine
it's
is the worst,
consistency.
stupid.
Okay, and what I suggest for my clients is I'll tell them, make a list of stuff and pop it on the fridge, so that everybody's on the same page,
Okay,
right? So they're like, hey, can we bonk that? Check the list. Yep, here we go.
okay.
So it's meant to stop things. I wouldn't tell her sit, and if she didn't do it, I wouldn't bonk her for that, okay? Because that's not stopping the behavior.
What
That's-
if I say sit and so like at the light and we're just walking, she doesn't have the collar. She doesn't sit without the collar, like when she's got the collar on, she's perfectly behaved.
Mhm.
She doesn't sit, but I like push her butt down with my knee. Is that bad?
Well, it's not bad, you're just reinforcing the behavior.
Of her not sitting?
Yeah, I mean, I would just use my hand. I find that would be easier than using my knee.
Sometimes, it depends, like I, got 20 things and I'm like,
Sure.
come on.
Yes. So, going to the collar, I tell everybody, you guys didn't get a formal consultation because unfortunately weather.
Yeah.
But the main thing I always tell people is, you drove here, right? You take the expressway? Did you go the speed limit? Okay, why?
Because I can.
Because you can get away with it, right? There's no cops, there's no
Right.
further getting consequence. So it's the same thing for dogs, right? Think of the e-collar as a cop on the collar. So I always tell people, when you need it, you have it. right? So in the home, if she's great, other than a few things that we want to stop, you
Right,
don't need it, right? But if we're gonna walk her, if I'm gonna take her to be off leash anywhere, if I need her to be stationary for any period of time, then I would have the collar on, okay?
okay,
And, people argue like, well, I see dogs on the internet. I'm like, yeah, but one, it's a dog trained by a professional for years.
yeah,
Two, look at the environment, and sometimes it's a very bland environment.
right.
That's why I like training at Oz, because it's very busy, it's very distracting, we got everything going on
So Jesse, does that mean she'll always be on the e-collar
when you need it.
when you need it?
Correct. So if
Well,
you're walking,
eventually, as she gets older, will it click into her head like,
maybe, but what ends up, think of it this way, okay? Let's say you've done all the homework, you practice all the time, Tyche is awesome, you try it without the e-collar, she's great, okay? You go to the Grand Park, and you take her off leash or whatever, and then some jerk decides to set up a firework out of nowhere
yeah,
and scares Tyche, okay? Now you don't have a means of getting her to return, emergency setting. Does that make sense?
yeah,
So that's how I look at it. Like, my dogs are fully off leash trained, but they still wear the e-collars if I know they're gonna be off leash because of that factor. And actually, that happened to me because I was walking down Logan Boulevard,
yeah,
and it's happened to me twice. And I was walking, and I was gonna come around this way, and someone set off a random firework, and my dogs hate fireworks. So now they're scared, and they're pulling home, and in my mind, I'm like, I wish I would've just had the e-collars on, but I wasn't planning on some random
right,
asshole
right.
setting
Doing
off fireworks,
yeah.
right? So, like, that was the trade-off. So those are the things that I tell people you want to account for. We hope don't happen.
Yeah,
But that's why it's present, in my opinion. Okay.
okay,
It's nothing good or bad. It has nothing to do with the form of training. It has nothing to do with like how much time you put into it. It's opportunistic behavior. Okay.
okay,
People expect we'll train our dog and the dog will learn to know better and just be a good dog. Dogs don't do that. Dogs are self-serving. If something is more to their benefit, they're going to opt to do that
well,
instead.
listen, Maybell listens.
Maybe,
Yeah.
but also personality type.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
She's much easier than this one.
yeah.
This one is stubborn.
Yes, like, so that whole bratty behavior we saw last week, remember?
Yeah.
With the protest, I never saw that later,
Oh, right.
So that's just personality type. And I get lots of dogs where I don't see that behavior, I get another dog that whenever the owner remotes her dog, he picks up a stick and like does the complete opposite of what she wants, okay? But the owner's very soft personality, and the dog isn't even a tough dog.
Right,
He's a little bit more confident than his owner, which causes
yeah,
this,
displacement.
exactly. So it's not just the dog, it's the dog personality type, it's the owner's personality type, it's the tool that we're using for the training and stuff. Now, I can close the gap pretty well with e-collar because it can go higher.
Yeah,
But then I gotta work on the owner, because now she's at like 45, 50 and the dog's yelping, but the dog's still not listening.
right,
So, yeah, it's all normal stuff for me.
you're right.
But for
Okay.
the average owners, they're like, is this, supposed to happen? I'm like, well, technically no, but your dog's a jackass.
Yeah.
So, okay. So what I think what we work on today is stationary control, so you have essentially the trifecta of commands.
Okay,
So walking, right? Come here when I call you,
right,
and don't move are like the basic fundamentals of training
okay,
that most people use, right?
right,
Because they don't want their dog to pull them, they want to be able to get their dog to come back, and maybe they want to go to like dinner or brunch or something, and have their dog with them and not worry about what their dog is doing.
okay,
That's where this comes into play.
okay,
Or maybe people, guests come over or something like that, and it's like, okay, maybe one of them's scared of Doberman,
yeah,
and you need control over Tyche, even though she's very sweet. Since the person's scared of Dobermans, like, you have to administer some level of control.
Mhm.
That's where this will come into play.
okay.
Okay? And it's very simple. Question?
Yeah, before our 6 weeks is up, we have to talk about her getting us to understand when she has to go to the bathroom.
Okay, we can set up a Zoom for that.
Okay.
Yeah. we can-
Because I can't, we've been doing pretty good, all three of us,
Mhm.
but she doesn't have like a sit by the door and,
Does she have any potty mistakes?
they're getting fewer and fewer and fewer,
Okay.
but yes,
Now, I will tell you that I personally don't like to teach the dog to let the owner know potty. Okay? Because think of it this way. Let's say, who's in the home? You and Ron and Tyche?
that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's say you and Ron are out, and Tyche's loose. And she goes and stands by the door going, hey, I gotta go, but there's no one there to
Oh,
see
I
her.
see.
right?
Gotcha.
What I do is I put the dog on a schedule so they learn to hold it, and
Okay.
they go when I take them out,
But
okay?
then I have to be really rigid about taking her out.
No, not at this stage. We just have to make a couple of changes.
Okay, I'm good with that.
Yeah,
I just,
like,
I just want this stuff, I mean, I want to put my rugs back. I want my house to be back together.
okay. Now, the other thing you want to account for is chewing and all that stuff, right?
Yeah, so she doesn't chew, she's actually pretty good. She doesn't chew the furniture, like she tries, and I give her the evil eye of evilest eyes, and she seems to back off. And then, but she'll chew like, so she destroys her stuffed animals, you know, those
Sure.
stupid
Should
dog
dog,
stuffed
sure.
animals. And she likes to play with them. Like, so she'll take an article of clothing. It used to be that she would chew them, but now she just runs around the house until I pay attention to her.
Sure, so you can talk about that, correct?
Okay,
Okay, now the biggest factor you want to account for here is when you're not there, right?
right, and when she, to let her kind of roam the house,
Right,
which we don't do, we put her in a crate.
that's fine. So when we do the Zoom, because
Yeah.
you get 2 Zooms with your program,
Okay,
is we can answer all that stuff,
okay,
okay? So you can talk to Ryan and just think about any, like, general questions on, like, how do we handle this potty training?
so how many do we have left? Do we have 4?
So this is number 4.
Okay.
You have 2 in person, but you also have 2
2 more
Zooms.
Zooms, okay,
Okay.
that's perfect.
Yep.
All right,
Anything else?
no,
And you can schedule that Zoom whenever you want. You don't have to wait a week or whatever. You can do it between classes because it's just a Zoom.
okay,
Okay? This you want to wait a week because it takes time to, practice, and all that stuff. This is called the place command. It's meant for duration. So like for the dogs we have here,
yeah,
we tell them place and they'll hold it for like 2, 3, hours, whatever like the time we need them to hold it for.
okay.
To as long as you want. Okay? We're gonna go ahead and grab Tyche's leash here. And what's our number set at the moment?
15. Good pansy.
What's her number generally
I
around?
think it's 20 to 25, sometimes 30, depending on how.
Okay, well, since we're teaching something new, we always start down low, so we're gonna work at 15.
Okay.
And what we're gonna do here is, for any particular reason why you feel bad.
About this? No, I'm just a pansy about it. I even listened to what you had to say, and I did put it up, but I usually start out at 15, and I end up at like 30 or 35.
Sure.
But I don't have to spend a lot of time there. It's funny, like, I think that, like, I started 15, and then I'm like 5. It depends on my level of frustration with her in the moment,
Sure.
as to how many I jump up.
Yes.
And so, it typically is okay, because I'm usually doing 20 things at the same time, trying to incorporate the dog into my normal life.
Gotcha. So one thing I would suggest is save yourself the
I
frustration.
know, all right, I'll start at 20.
Yeah.
Okay,
And-
is that okay?
Yes. Now, but it's most likely going to end up going higher, okay? But think of it this way. You never want to do the stuff out of anger or frustration,
Right.
okay? You always,
Well, 5, I go 3 usually, so 5
Yeah,
is
bumps
my.
in 3, I see.
Yeah.
but think of, so like, let's say every time you walk, you always go to 30,
Yeah,
then I just do my walks at 30,
okay,
okay? So like the client that just had before you, she was like, her dog was great, and then all of a sudden started to regress, right? And I
Yeah.
go, what's the highest you've gone? She's like 30. I'm like, where do you start at? She's like 10. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, so what I would do now is just
I'm
start
better
at
than
30.
that.
Is I would just start at 30 and see, and we ended up at 45 in this empty room.
Yeah,
And I told her, if we're at 45 in this empty room, then that tells me potentially in the neighborhood you're going to be even higher than
yeah,
the 30 or whatever, right? So logically, so same thing here for Tyche. It saves yourself the frustration. It saves you one less thing in the 20 things that you have to think about when you're just at that number, okay? Now, I'm not opposed to practicing and going, every walk we end up at 35 before you jump to 35. You have to figure out what's the consistent number. But then once I realize that, then I go, okay, then just go 35 then. Because I'm not going to argue with the dog.
okay.
Okay, I can tell you right now, Tyche already knows the concept of healing, for sure. It's just a
Oh,
matter of...
absolutely. She
It's-
does what she wants to do, that's the difference.
Yes, and it's just a matter of, is the consequence higher than the reward of what she wants to do? Okay?
Yeah,
Questions?
nope,
So what we're gonna do here is, so we're going down lower because we are teaching something new. Is we're not gonna use any words in the beginning, we'll name this at the end of the session, but you're gonna just lightly put some leash pressure on the Tyche, guiding her towards the mat as you tap on the button. okay? So tap, 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 a little bit leash pressure, tap, 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 tap.
So her default is to,
Back,
what do you mean back?
back up.
Oh.
No, I mean for her,
Oh.
back up.
Back, how do I do that?
No, you said her default.
Oh, no, sorry. Her default is to sit when I do this.
Oh, sure, sure. So like you're talking about like right there?
Yeah, or like, remember when we did it here and all of a sudden she would sit?
Yes. So here, if we get that behavior, that's what the leash pressure is for.
Okay,
It's helpful to guide her out of that position.
okay,
The teacher like, that's not what you do this instead, okay? It's not uncommon that a dog will default
okay,
into behaviors, especially if it's like a more recent thing that they've learned, because they're thinking the last time this was the answer to everything, so I'm just
Right.
gonna do this now.
and that was probably true. 'Cause
Yes.
she wasn't sitting, so she
As we-
did
yeah.
exact.
As we teach more things, we create more problems, it's just part of the process, but that's why, the week in between, when we're practicing, we're kind of clarifying all these things, okay?
Okay,
So essentially, you just taught Tyche here, when you remote and there's this object in play, it means to go to this object, okay? We're gonna repeat this a few more times, we're gonna gradually just build this up. So go ahead and cue her release word, break,
break,
and then we're gonna repeat this about 4 more times. Break,
Break.
and move, good.
let's go.
Tap, 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 tap. Try choking a little bit closer to where her flat collar is on the leash, and you go a little higher.
Wait, I don't understand what you're saying.
So you're gonna choke up closer to
Oh,
where her
okay.
flat collar is. There you go. Tap. 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 And yeah, very subtle physical this way. Tap. 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 There you go. Like that. So the closer you are to here,
The more control.
the more immediate control you have. Okay? And then break.
Okay, break, let's
Good. We're
go.
gonna do it 3 more times. Tap, yep, tap, 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 yep, tap, keep going, tap, tap, there she goes. Good.
Girl,
Okay. So all this here is opposition reflex. So when a dog feels pressure, they want to go against it. So you're pulling forward, she's going backwards, right?
okay,
So you're teaching her that no, you don't go against the the leash pressure, you're actually supposed to move with it. And that's how remote turns off. Okay? So this stuff here is not out of the ordinary. What I would do here is bring this down below her jaw here.
oh
Because
really?
sometimes above the back of the neck can be a little too sensitive.
Oh,
So I usually tend to hover around here or
Okay.
here. Not that this is bad, but sometimes dogs can be a bit more apprehensive on the back of the
oh,
neck.
that's so weird, because I had it backwards. Huh?
Okay, and
Okay, break,
yep,
let's go.
and a girl, we're gonna do
Good
2 more.
girl, let's go this way, how about that? We're getting better on our turns.
Good. Yep, 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 right there. Almost tap, tap, tap. A little tap because of that hind leg. There she goes. And then wait, there we go. Very good. Good girl.
Good girl.
And break, do 1 more.
Okay, break, let's go.
Very good. Excellent.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, get back in the line. Good girl.
Okay. So now, we're gonna do the same thing, but we're gonna increase the distance. So currently, you're doing about here.
Yeah,
Now we're gonna go back about another square.
okay,
And when you're tapping, I want you to plant yourself as best you can so that Tyche goes on her own without me having to move, okay?
oh, so I want to be in, just stay here?
Yeah, so it's about 3 squares away, so that's correct. And then you're using the leash, so being up close to that collar for the most leverage and remoting so that she goes there on her own, okay? What we're trying to do here is teach Tyche how to go herself as opposed to having to walk her all the way there,
Okay,
okay?
so do I break and walk around?
Correct.
Okay, break, let's go.
Good. And then go ahead and choke up on your leash. Closer. There you go. Good. Tip. 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 Right there. Get a girl.
Does that matter?
No, it's fine. This, because she's still within the area. Now, I will say dogs are very keen or cunning. So my Pitty, when she was a puppy, I would tell her place, and she's like 3 months, whatever. I go to the kitchen and I come back, she'd be like this. Okay, 1 foot on the placemat, everything else on the floor, right? So she knew she had to do something with the bed, and she was playing with the boundary, okay? So and it would start, I remember she was a little bratty puppy, is I'd be like in my room, she'd be on the bed, and then it would be like this, and then this, and then this, then this, right? She would start to army crawl. Yes. So if you see that, the moment, so I don't care if like right here, her paw's off, right?
Right.
Because it's the way she lay down. But like if you'll notice the difference where
Do
the
I
dog.
bonk her in the head with a thing?
You would do this.
Okay.
Because remember, so bonker, you wouldn't use for obedience, you're using it for behavior.
Okay.
Don't jump, don't bark, don't chew, don't whine,
Okay.
whatever, right? When it comes to teaching something, because here you're teaching with the remote, right? When you go here, remote turns off. So when she tries to sneak off, you would use remote because she knows what that is.
So is this like an outside situation where?
Inside or outside, doesn't matter.
Okay.
It's when you need her to be stationary.
Okay.
Okay, so like let's say, she's in the house and she's causing a ruckus, just moving all over the place.
Right.
And you need to focus on something. You towel, blanket, dog bed,
Something.
anything with the perimeter. I've had people use ottomans. I've had people use a big area rug. But it was just so here
Yeah.
for place, I don't care what Tyche does. She can sit, stand, or lay down. She just cannot step off of the perimeter.
Okay.
Okay? So it's
Gotcha.
lenient and easy in that way. Because if we did
Now what happens if we do this at home and she starts biting the dog bed? Then do I bonk her?
technically yes, that you could bonk, right? But what you might get is
Because that's what I think is going to happen. in
yes,
your
no,
house.
you're correct. So like let's say she's chewing the bed, you bonk her for it, and she goes, oh, and she spooks off because she thinks it was being on the bed. Then you would kick in with this to send her back again.
Okay.
So then eventually what happens is if you end up correcting her for behavior like chewing or barking on the bed, she'll stop the behavior and go into a passive state. But it takes in the beginning the confusion of, oh crap, maybe I'm not supposed to be here. And you have to clarify by sending her back but not repeating the word. I would just remote until she goes back to where she's supposed to go. Okay? And we'll add in the word
You know
after.
the PLACE is the word.
That's what I use, yeah.
Okay.
Some people use go to your bed. It doesn't matter what you use, as long as, of course, it's consistent. We use place, but we can be whatever you want, okay?
Yeah. So I tend to, when we're healing, I say heal. I say let's go, and then I say heal. Does that matter?
Well, I would think let's go. It depends on how you use it. If you say let's go and you go into a relaxed walking state,
Yeah.
then that's just move with me, right?
But
If-
it's a heal.
If that's how you're using it.
So I say, okay, let's go, heal.
Mm-hmm. So
Is that
it's
confusing?
not confusing. I think you have a
Up to
longer heel, right? Like a longer
So should I
term.
just say heal and then go?
I just say heel.
Or, that's what I need.
Okay.
You
I
let
just
me
say
know.
heel.
One word, not two.
Yeah, I would use let's go as a casual, if she's peeing, and let's go, so hey, let's move to a new spot.
Yeah.
Because you don't care about the heel. It's just
Okay.
let's move a little bit, right? Heel is walk with me, stay with me, sit when I stop.
So I feel the need to tell her we're gonna go work, and then, before I do this, I don't have any idea why I feel this need, I don't need to do that though, right? I just
Correct.
need to put the collar on her, say nothing, walk out the door. I think that's what the other dog trainer sort of told me.
So let's say, a nervous dog tends to respond to a stimulus, okay? So the most common stimulus that I see for nervous dogs and what they do is when someone comes into the home, they're barking, they'll calm down, and then when that person moves, they start barking again,
She doesn't do that.
okay? And that's just as an example, right? Yeah.
Okay.
So, if the owner is petting the dog to calm them down, to to say like you don't need to bark. The petting is saying keep barking. Okay? What we want to do is disrupt the behavior through some form of consequence, but also there's more stuff that goes with it that teaches the dog how to handle nervousness. Now, you've actually already to some degree helped Tyche work through nervousness when you did the first 2 classes, okay? The healing command, when she started spazzing and going all over the place, right? That was nervousness. She was overcompensating. Most dogs just go one way, then they go the other way, right? Well, she was all of this. So then we popped on the prong collar to help you teach it to have more physical control. Here, we actually saw a little peak of nervousness again. When you tapped her, initially what was she doing for the place?
I'm not, because I tapped her when she ran out here and got nervous, which now
With the door, right?
Yeah, which I think might not have been the greatest.
No, that was correct.
Oh, it was.
Because she, so door open, she goes, oh my God.
Yes.
And you go, don't worry about it. She goes, okay.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
It's very simple. Earlier, when we first started the place, she went, nope, I don't know how I feel about this. I'm nervous about how this is going to work out. And then you did a couple of reps, and then what happened?
She was fine.
She's easy, right?
Yeah, easier.
Easier. So what happens is when the dog is nervous, people tend to stop what they're doing as opposed to working the dog through it.
Okay.
I work the dog through it.
Okay.
So like the first class, another trainer might have told you your dog is going under too much stress. We're going to stop here today. We'll try again next time. And I go, no, because in real life, shit's going to happen. The owner's going to be freaked out. The dog's going to be freaked out. And if nobody's worked through it, it's going to be a problem. Okay, so, and we worked through it, and she was fine.
Right.
And then came class 2, and she was fine, right?
Yeah.
Then last week, she was getting frustrated. That wasn't nervousness, she was just being a brat. What do? We worked her through it. Then she was fine, right?
Well, we don't know yet because we haven't done it.
We haven't practiced, right? But in that context,
right,
we work them through it, right?
Right.
We push through things, and it's another client I met earlier who's a teacher, we were having a conversation. And we're talking about discipline in kids and dogs and stuff, but she was saying that kids now are more anxious, but they're not being disciplined. And it's like the whole mentality of like toughening them up. And like if something happens, you gotta work through it, and it's the next thing, right? It's the same thing here, but for dogs it's different. For a human, you can kind of coach them through things, and you can like empower them with, moral support and all that stuff. Not dogs.
What do you do with the dog then?
Pressure.
Okay.
Right? So if she goes, oh my God, I'm nervous of that door, and I go, boom, 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 and I'm like, no, you're not, right? Because I'm disrupting the nervous response, and she's redirecting to whatever she was doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for the dog, she thinks, door open, oh no, then I go, you can't do that. She goes, okay, but then nothing bad happens.
Right.
So then the dog goes, oh, okay, I don't need to be nervous about a creaking door. Okay? Dogs are much simpler than humans are. Okay? So whenever they freak out, I put them under pressure because it's fear, nervous anxiety is the mental or the emotional thought of like something bad's going to happen. But e-collar is real because they feel it. So you can override those stress responses because this is real. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So like let's say you're walking with Tyche, she's on the e-collar. I know. She's on the e-collar and a car backfires and she goes, holy crap, what was that, right? I keep walking, tap, tap, she goes, okay, and we keep going.
Right.
So what I did was I said, nope, you can't do that, we're doing this. But then Tyche goes, oh, you weren't fazed by that big bang. I guess I don't need to worry about it,
Yeah.
okay? That's how you work dogs through things. But when most people stop and go, oh my God, and they start petting the dog with them solo, now you've created issues.
Okay.
Okay, so it's always continue, like redirect them, keep moving. Okay.
Okay.
So like with people with puppies, I tell them walk all over the place, expose your puppies. They'll say, but the dog gets scared of like busy traffic. Then walk them around busy traffic, get them over it. That's how they're gonna get toughened up.
It's funny. She used to sit and watch everything, so I would just stand there with her until she was ready to move. Because she would watch. When we got her, she was from the suburbs of St. Louis, so it was like.
Oh sure, yeah, because there's a lot more of it.
It was like information overload for the poor kid.
For sure.
She was
Let's
so
do a couple
cute
more.
then. Okay.
Break.
Break.
Had a girl.
Oh, good girl.
Here. Good. Good.
Yes.
We're gonna do one more, okay?
Break.
Go, 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 pull, pull, pull. Yep, go, go. And move away from her.
Move away from her?
Yeah, like this. Because
Oh,
you're facing
okay.
her, right? So you want to
Yeah.
move like you're moving away like that.
Okay.
Now forward.
Break.
Forward, forward, forward.
I
There you
need to
go.
get the vocabulary because to me, break was like when we, when we were gonna do heel and then we went to, oh, sorry, it's okay. I'll go back there. Good girl. Yes, good girl. So we're healing, break, she can sniff wherever she wants, and then we go back to healing.
Correct.
Same, right?
Yes, same
Okay.
stuff, yeah. So break is a command, but it's a release command. It means your job is done. You can pee, poop, roll around, sniff the ground, smoke cigarettes, your time. And then once they're done, heal. Now that's a new command. Now she's supposed to walk at your side,
Okay.
okay? So I'm gonna have you do one more because that one was not on your terms. That's one
Okay.
she assumed, right?
Yeah.
And then just move away like you were, right?
Break.
Yep, just move with her, move with her, move with her. There she goes, have a girl. And then you're gonna stop short about 3 squares away. Hold right there. Now here, pull back, because we don't want her to prematurely go. So pull back, pull back.
Oh,
There we go.
sorry.
Right, wait a moment. Okay, because we want her to go on your cue. Okay, I don't want her to assume at the moment because we're trying to teach something. So now, tap, tap, tap. A little bit of leash pressure, tap, tap, right there. Okay, so the reason why I want it that way is because I want to make sure that Tyche is going in response to the remote.
Okay.
Okay, because I want to know that later on, if I tap her for something, that she's going to go into the behavior.
Okay.
Okay, as opposed to assuming it, because that doesn't allow us to teach anything.
Okay.
Okay, so it's kind of like with the recall, with the 2 leashes and forcing her to be away from each other,
Right.
and then applying the tapping. It's because to make sure that the remote is what's making her do the behavior. Okay. So now what we're going to do here is go ahead and title this. We of course call this place,
Uh-huh.
and you can already see here like this here, because with that grumble
Yeah.
is her not liking having to be stationary for a period of time. Okay,
Right.
and also this is really redundant. Like, imagine someone telling you to sit, stand, sit, stand, sit. Like, you'd be like, what the hell? No, right? This is annoying. But for dogs, we do this because it's part of the training process. That's why I keep these sessions really short myself. Like, if let's say you and Ron practice this 2 to 3 minutes a day piece, that's it. Okay? You don't need to do a whole lot because there's 2 aspects to this. Right now, we're teaching Tyche the send, right? Teaching her how to go there when she feels the remote. The
Yeah.
second half of it is go there, don't move for the next 3 hours or whatever at the time you choose for her to be still. Okay? So you're gonna go ahead and tell Tyche break,
Okay.
and you're gonna do the same thing, but this time we're gonna add in that word place prior to tapping and using leash pressure to direct her.
Okay.
Okay?
Break.
Yep. Move, 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 move. There she goes, at a girl.
So we shouldn't zap her though when.
No, because that's a release. Unless she's being super resistant, and then wait a second, very good. Unless she's being super resistant, from a behavioral aspect, then I don't tap. Okay?
Okay.
Because break is break. Technically, she could be told break and still stay there.
If she chose to.
Exactly, but for now, for the sake of exercise, of repeating the exercise, we need her to actually move. Okay?
Okay.
So you're gonna cue the word place, and then you're gonna
Place.
start tapping, and a little bit of leash pressure. Tap, tap, tap. Very good. And what we're doing here is creating a sequence. When she hears place, tapping kicks in, and when she goes here, tapping goes away. So what we should start to see is when she hears place, Tyche just starts to go there, ideally without any leash pressure or remoting.
Okay.
Okay? So repeat that a few times.
Break.
Yep.
Better, Billy. Better. I know, it's so annoying. You're taking the same way all the time.
Yep, wait a moment. Go ahead.
Place.
Tap, tap, leash pressure, tap, like that. Very good. So she took a gamble, and she goes, "Do I put my butt down?" And you went, "Nope." And she goes, "Oh, I'm supposed to go here." Okay?
Okay.
This is how dogs learn. It's all normal.
Okay, break.
Get it, girl.
Place. I didn't even zap her though.
That's what I just mentioned, right? That's what you're trying to create.
Okay.
Is that when you say place,
She knows where to
she
go.
just shoots there. Yes.
Because I can't tell if that's good or bad. Let's
No.
do it again, Booger. Ron hates when I call him
Booger?
Booger.
Booger, oh, booger.
Break. That's my girl. It entertains me though. Place?
So that was a preemptive one though,
Yeah.
right? So it's okay, we're gonna say break, we'll reset it, because you did say place, right? But you said place just as she was going there. So what I would do is wait
Wait,
a little
longer.
bit of a second longer, yeah, and then
Okay.
restrict her if needed, then repeat.
Break.
Wait a moment. Go ahead.
Place.
Now there's pressure, tap, tap. There we go. Yeah, the girl.
Good girl.
But she's doing a pretty solid distance. I mean, she's doing about 4 to 5 feet
Yeah.
now. Okay, we'll do a couple more. Yep,
Break.
yep. Very good. Yep, good job, good job.
Oh,
I can
did
move
it by
back.
accident.
Oh, you tapped her?
Yeah.
So here, light pressure, tap, 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 tap. Let's go ahead and bump it.
Hey, we're doing so good.
Tap, 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 bump it.
Oh, what are you eating?
Probably a piece of kibble that rolled under from puppy training. Tap, 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 tap. Go ahead and bump it.
Jesus Christ, dog. Okay, I'm zapping the shit out of you.
Tap, 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 tap. There she goes. All right, now what's the number now?
30.
Okay, that's not too bad. I got thoughts the numbers are 95. Tap. Wait a moment. Okay.
See, my natural instinct is to pet her now.
Yeah, now what do you, okay, so like how do you feel about her doing this?
I don't mind.
You don't mind it? Okay.
Unless I'm in a skirt.
Oh. So just to let you know,
This is
Tyche
different.
would not differentiate between whether or not you're in shorts or a skirt,
Right.
okay? So what I would do is go, if there might be a time where I don't want her to do this, I would probably just teach her not to do that, okay?
You know Ron loves this.
Oh, really?
He loves this. So I don't know if I'm gonna have the opportunity for that. We'll have to discuss it, because I understand what you're saying.
Yeah,
But she's not an affectionate dog, so when she is affectionate, you're like, oh, take
sure,
it.
sure. Yeah, like let's say dog jumping on people,
Yeah.
right? I'll tell the owner, like, well, maybe one day you walk through with the soup and the dog jumps on you, a hot soup, the dog's not gonna differentiate that
Right.
today's not the day, right? So just bear that in mind. I don't care what you let her do
Yeah,
and not let her do, but just know that, so don't train in the skirt.
But that, yeah, really. But that also begs another question, because when she gets excited, she doesn't, like, what is she supposed to do? So like when she gets excited, she gets mouthy and she gets like, she wants to jump, and she doesn't do it with me. It's weird. She doesn't do it with me. She does it with Ron, because I think he encourages it. But she'll be like, and
Yeah, because the energy's gotta go somewhere.
so what do I do with her?
So I would correct what you don't like, and then she's gotta find another outlet.
So she has to figure it out.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, because you can't tell her, like, Tyche, I don't care that you get excited, but please don't do that.
Yeah.
She has to try stuff. So, like, let's say you don't care if she, like, walks around you in excitement,
Yeah.
but you don't want her nibbling at your fingers.
Right.
So now I would correct her whenever she nibbles at my fingers. And eventually Tyche will learn, I can weave through and walk and rub, I just can't put my mouth on your fingers when I'm excited.
Okay.
Okay? So you're just saying, not that, and then she thinks, okay, well, I get corrected when I do this, but what happens if I do this instead? Right? Because there's only so many responses a dog can do before they run out of options.
Right.
Okay? So, again, anything you don't like, and I don't care what, because someone might say, but Jessie, she's happy and excited. I go, yeah, but if she's happy and excited.
No, because I know exactly, Jessie. I was in a skirt when she was really little, and she like basically tore the whole outfit, and I was like,
Yeah.
and then I had to get redressed, which took up more time, which made me late for everything, and I was so pissed.
Yeah, because she doesn't differentiate. So it's just not acceptable, find something else to have as an outlet. Okay, you're not being mean, you're just being clear with the rules.
Okay. Should we do this again? Should I start with a break and a walk?
No, you're good. She's already released here, so go ahead and just say place and remote.
Place.
Tap, tap, leash pressure, tap, tap, good. Tap, 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 good.
Nice job, Tyche. Good girl.
And break, a couple more.
Okay. Ready? Break. Nice. Come on, let's work on those weird terms that we can't do. Place.
Tap, tap, tap. Now leash pressure, tap, tap, tap. It's okay, this is normal. Tap, a little bit of leash pressure forward, tap, 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 tap. There you go, right there. Very good. Now, here, that lay down, right? I don't want to do this, and it can also be nervous response.
Yeah.
So you're just teaching her, when you feel this way, the only option is compliance, which sounds bad, right? Because there's like, I remember watching this video of this trainer who's super famous, and they're using e-collar. And the dog, they told the dogs to do something, and they, use the e-collar. And then she's like, oh my God, did you just shock the dog? They're like, yeah. They're like, to do this. And she's like, well, it's not like the dog had a choice. I'm like, no, there are no choices for dogs. Because if I say, come here, and the dog decides, nah, I don't want to do it today, I have a problem, right?
Yeah.
So here, when you get resistance like that, whether or not it's coming, you work through it, because she's learning compliance is the only way to get this to go, okay? And you're not being mean about it. You're just pressing the button, right? She technically is in control of it. Because earlier we were at what, number 15, 18?
Yeah.
And now we're at 30 something, right? But because she became resistant over here.
Right.
Had she not become resistant, we would still be on the 15, 18, and everything would still be going smoothly, okay?
Okay.
So that's why I don't ever feel bad about this stuff, because yes, dogs can figure that stuff out, and it's really her that's controlling where this goes.
Right.
If I had a dog super compliant on 2, then I would be on 2. But that's never happened. So it's always usually higher. We'll do a couple more.
Break.
Yep, and move, break, yep.
Place.
Almost, yep. There you go, good. And last one.
Tyche. Break. Nice
Girl.
job.
Good job. You're doing good.
Place.
Leash pressure. Very good. Excellent. Good. So,
Good girl.
don't worry about the sitting or the stepping back, okay, that she's doing right now.
Okay.
That's what practice is for. Now, this exercise obviously is very redundant, right? It's very repetitive. So that's why I keep these things real short, 2 to 3 minutes.
Okay.
Okay? Because, again, it's annoying to be told. Like, the reason why she's resistant on leaving is because she knows you're going to send her right back in.
Okay.
Right? So it's in her head, right? She's like, well, in this case, I should just not even move. But we have to do it for the sake of training. Okay?
Okay.
So the duration aspect of it, I know life is hard, huh? The duration aspect of it, she's like deciding or going over her life
You haven't
choices.
heard her talk yet. She's hilarious when she's pissed off.
She's super cute.
She is cute. It's also what keeps me not killing her.
Is the duration part of it, right? So place means go there, don't move for the next 30 minutes, the next hour, whatever time frame you decide, okay? So to do the duration aspect of it, what I suggest is for this week, okay, for the first week when we cover this, is let's say, do you guys watch TV or movies or anything, right? You're gonna pop on a movie, you're gonna sit on the couch, get her dog bed or whatever, move it next to where you're gonna be, on a leash, collar it up, Tyche place, and then watch the movie, okay? 30 minutes in, she goes, this movie sucks, I'm gonna move. You tap her, right? She goes back, we don't repeat the word, we just correct her. Watch the movie. Hour goes by, nah, too bored, tap, 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 bring her back, right? So you're practicing.
So that is okay all that time,
Oh,
when she's
yeah.
not used to it?
Oh yeah, right.
Okay.
When we do, so when we have our daycare trains and our boarding trains, we teach this the first day, and then within the first day, they're already doing 2 to 3 hours. But they're making mistakes, right?
Right,
That
but
we
they're
correct.
sitting for 2 or 3.
Correct,
Okay.
right? So I tell everybody, do what's gonna be applicable to you, right? So it's like, we would love to take her on, brunch with us or whatever. Brunch is typically an hour and a half or so, right? That setting's gonna be a lot more distracting.
Yeah,
That so to compensate, what you can do is, if I know brunch is hour and a half, in the home I do 2 to 2.5 hours, right? To make it more difficult, so when I get to the restaurant setting, I've kind of compensated a bit. Still a bit different, but
Yeah.
it's easier for her, right? Now you definitely want to start with being stationary for a longer period of time within the home before you go into that
Okay.
environment, okay? Because some people will be like, oh, cool, I learned a new thing. Let's go to the
Yeah.
let's go to the restaurant tomorrow. And they're like, Jesse, went to the restaurant, it was not fun because I have to work with my dog. I'm like, yeah, because it's steps before we get to that setting.
so how many times do you think that she should sit for like 2 hours or 3 hours, just as practice?
Go by your schedule, right? Let's say watching a movie is a routine thing, right? Friday through Sunday. Then Friday through Sunday, right?
So maybe like while he's making dinner,
Mm-hmm.
she goes to her place,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and then I don't have to bonk her because hopefully she won't bark. But
Sure.
if she barks, then I bonk.
Correct. And then if she gets off, you remote
Then I
to bring her back
remote.
on.
All right, I can do this.
Yeah, you use this as you go about your life, right? So the 2 to 3 minute sessions are just to get Tyche to understand to go here.
Right,
Once you feel like she's got a good grasp, then I forget about that and I go to application.
okay.
And there's no such thing as too much, okay? Because dogs sleep 16 to 20 hours a day.
Even this kind of dog?
Yeah.
I mean, she does sleep a lot, but I always thought that she had to be more.
16 to 20 hours a day is what a dog sleeps, typically.
So
Okay?
if I take her to daycare 3 times a week, is that okay?
Sure.
Like that all day daycare?
It doesn't matter, But let's say, because what can happen, because this happened to a client of mine, she used to send her dog to like Indiana.
Yeah.
They would pick up the dog and then they'll take them to like this, I guess like this open beach dunes thing.
Okay, I'm talking Petco, but all right, yeah.
And they run around all day, right? But she said the dog would come home wired, that he would be like off the walls,
Oh, I bet.
right? And then I told her, because it was just too much, there was no control.
Yeah.
So then he comes over here like once or twice a week, and he goes home and she's like, he just wipes out for the rest of the night. And she's like, what do you do that's different, And I told her, well, we put rules to things.
Yeah.
It's not a free-for-all, right? Now, some
Yeah.
dogs can handle the free-for-all, come home and go to sleep.
Yeah.
Great. Some dogs can't, right?
Because the other thing, Jesse, that this is for you to remember for me,
Mhm.
is the cabin doesn't have any rules. And I think she won't come when we call come.
Mm-hmm.
So she will, but if she sees a frog, all bets are off.
Sure.
So that kind of stuff maybe is a Zoom thing too, but as you're saying all this, these things are coming into my life.
Sure. So main thing is practice recall, right? Because
Okay.
you have to have foundation. Now, because the other thing for recall is, let's say you're at the cabin, right? This tool can also act as a electronic fence,
Yes.
okay? Where you can set a perimeter to things, okay?
Yeah.
But also,
She's okay with that though. Will that change as she gets older?
maybe.
So-
I don't go by the dog will grow out of it rule. I go by if you want the dog to stop, you be proactive about it.
Okay.
But like, let's say you're at the cabin and she sees a frog, right? And she's gonna chase it or eat it, and I think some frogs can be poisonous. Is the moment she looks at that frog, boom, don't even look at the frog, okay? And now her
It's not
beef.
always that easy though in the wilderness.
Yeah. Yes, I know dogs will see things first. Yeah. So then you would correct the hunt
Okay.
if you want. Okay.
I know, I have to decide, like, the cabin is very complicated because it's like dog Disneyland for her. And
I'm
there's
sure.
a part of it that I am fine with. Like she did, Ron tell you she had to like fight with a crayfish. It was hilarious.
Sure.
But when I tell her to come though, she doesn't come, and I want that,
Yes.
without question.
So we gotta practice that, right?
Yeah, and so are we gonna do that next week?
We'll revisit that. I'm hoping, next week will be nicer weather. And then
Okay.
Maria gave you an option for an earlier time, I think, on
Yeah,
Friday.
and Friday doesn't work because we end up going to the cabin,
Ah, I see.
but it would've worked if, it was any other.
What time do you go to the cabin?
We usually try to leave by 4.
Okay. But you guys aren't free earlier in the day, right?
He's not free, I can be free,
I
I can be
gotcha.
super flexible. So if he doesn't come next week, we have to figure out a way to show me how to do well, I'd like to do it, if you can explain it, but how to do it just on my own, because I
Oh,
can't
sure.
always count on him to.
So what you would do, take your long leash,
Yeah,
hold on to the end of it, right? However you
Right.
want to do so. Go to Grant Park,
right.
Tyche break. And,
Oh, just let her run out that leash?
yeah, a good place to practice is if you go over the bridge and there's like those baseball fields in
Yeah,
that
I know
huge
exactly
view.
what you're
Yes,
talking about.
you go there, right?
Yeah,
Because you got geese, you got goose poop, you have a lot of like distractions. And you just walk through there with Tyche at the end of the leash, right?
the
And you-
long leash,
Yeah, and you let Tyche be Tyche, get a good grip, right?
right?
And you're just walking with her, and then like, let's say she's like frolicking around, hopping, and she's excited, right? You let her have it 5 minutes or so, and then whenever you're ready, Tyche, come, right? From that state, because you're trying to practice calling Tyche in a realistic scenario, okay?
Right.
So I don't do stay to the come, because that's not realistic.
Okay,
I go, if she likes squirrels, I don't know if you know about that spot when you go to the bridge, and you know how there's those two paths that go down?
yeah, uh-huh,
If you go left, so you're going north,
Yeah.
there's those trees and there's like that path. Right there is like, I call it Squirrel Alley, because there's usually tons of squirrels in that little spot.
okay,
Because I think, I'm not sure if it was Doug, or maybe it was the family with Bruno. I don't know if you ever met Bruno, they're in a different building. He's like a cockapoo, but I worked with him, and we used to walk through there. And, he would see squirrels, and we would practice the recall off of that.
yeah,
So I don't care if she chases squirrel. I really don't care. Like, it's a dog, right? I
Right.
want them to have fun, but I want to know
then when I say they were.
they're going to return.
Okay,
So you have to practice it with those things, and then once you feel like you got a good grip on it, then, when you go to the cabin, don't
Yeah.
assume Tyche does it great at the South Loop.
that she's gonna do it every time.
Exactly.
Yeah, I brought
revisit.
everything to play, to like help with the cabin, but the cabin is just always so time consuming, and right now. Okay, maybe we'll take her down there, it's just me and her. I get it, I think I get it.
It's
And
just
I come
let her be
back and I totally don't get it, but.
It's okay, just let her be Tyche, right? And then, instead of Ron holding her at the other end of the leash, it would be, a distraction, having her attention.
Yeah,
I would advise not calling her at the start of every distraction, because then she's gonna go to like, look at a squirrel and then immediately return, because she's thinking you're gonna call her.
okay,
I let them like be barking and lunging, right? And I'm just at the end of the leash, like, all right, have at it. 5 minutes goes by, now I need you to come back.
okay,
Because the longer she does that behavior, she forgets about you.
okay,
Okay, so then you throw it in when they're deep in that thought process, when they're deep into the behavior,
okay,
to get them to pull out and to return.
okay. I think I got it, Jess, thank you.
Okay, other questions?